Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Glad we're back. Had a little hiatus, but now we're back, ready to keep rocking and rolling. Okay, so last time we worked on getting these guys so they could equip weapons, and they're moving around to their points and everything. We set up a little system for the weapons to override animation. Let's go ahead and look through this a little bit. Quick little review. Let's see, weapon to equip. Right, so they've got this class variable. These weapons are all part of the same weapon base, which doesn't do much. It just, right now, just has this dummy event for attacking. Let's see, how did I set up the animations? Oh, here we go. It's just oh, never mind. Oh, okay, it's just an instance variable. So yeah, so we've got these, each enemy variation can have a animation to override so that they can use different weapons. And that's right, and then there's a socket name so that it can put it in the right transform. And so the way this is set up, it has a hard limitation, which is that our enemies can only, each enemy type can only use one weapon. So like, there can be shotgun guard and pistol guard, but the pistol guard can't equip a shotgun, right? I think for our intents and purposes, that's probably fine. But yeah, that's the kind of thing where, like, when we were talking about game design docs, that's the kind of thing where, like, if you can know that ahead of time, it's really good, because then you can architect your system to support it. But we are just keeping it fast and loose and just kind of trying to roll with it, so we'll try it for now. And someday, I'm sure Harrison will be like, no, the shotgun guy has to be able to pull out a pistol, and then we'll just have to change everything and start all over. Hopefully that doesn't happen, and we can just keep this design constraint. Make our lives a lot easier. Alright, cool. So, oh yeah, don't look at that, that's nothing. Something else I was working on. Right, here's the player. Don't worry about that either. Today, I want to focus on getting the guards to be able to actually aim and attack. In order to make this a lot easier, I've set up this basic testing pawn. It's just a little ball that just kind of automatically roams around. And so for our testing purposes, I'm going to make this represent our player. So I'm going to have the guards try to attack it, basically. So that way I don't have to actually jump in VR to test everything. Alright, so I guess let's get down to it. So what do we need? Let's crack open our behavior tree. Alright, so... Right. So as of right now, our enemy logic is they will run to these target points. And they just can, so they'll run to a target point, and then they'll wait between 10 and 7 seconds, and while they're waiting, they will update their AI controller's focus to be the player pawn. So that's my first problem, because this guy is not the player pawn. Okay, so right, this is where we have a lot of things to think about. Our game is pretty simple. It's not multiplayer, and we want it to be kind of arcadey, which means we're not really thinking about like stealth mechanics. And the reason I mentioned stealth mechanics is because the easiest way, or one of the standard ways to to feed an enemy behavior tree the player is by using the perception system, which is pretty complicated. But we could also just just feed them that variable, right? So like instead of using the player pawn, I could make this, just for the sake of argument, just demonstrate. So I could just get actor of class, and I called this thing BPAI target pawn. BPAI target pawn. So we can do this. Just feed that in instead of the player. And so now, when they hit their node, they should turn and aim at our little dummy thing. Yep, see, he's aiming at it. And see how he's tracking with it as it moves. I don't know if you can tell, but... So that works. You know what, I'm going to move these target points a little closer to each other. Just for the sake of making testing a little simpler. And you know what, let's just clean this up a little bit. Get rid of these pop-up targets. Those things, well, good to have a little bit of terrain variation. So yeah, you can see he's aiming, and when this starts to move, he turns to aim at it. So what I was thinking is, let's see. Basically, this system worked well in the original Deadlock, but this is probably going to be a pretty different kind of game, where you can actually run around on stuff, so it may be worth having perception. In which case all of this is going to be different. And welcome to the stream, Mild One. Mild One says these guards are going to be wicked smart. So true. I think... Yeah, what's right? Why not? Why not? Let's just go ahead and do the perception. Let's see, this will be interesting. It's been a while since I've done this. I think it goes on the controller. So you add it on here, and then you go into senses config. And for now, we'll just stick with sight. Excuse me. You can also have damage and hearing. Debug. Oh, you know what? Oh man, I really need a number pad. I don't have a number pad on this computer. Because that's how you turn on the perception debug. You know what? Them having some air of perception would be good. Yeah. Be right back. I'm gonna go grab a keyboard with a numpad. Okay. So now the question is if this works in play in editor mode or if I've got to actually be playing. Of course it doesn't. Good old VR dev. Alright, so... yeah, this is hugely annoying. How the heck am I supposed to debug AI without the AI debugger? Yeah, alright. So we're gonna have to do it this way. We will play the game as the third person pawn, and we do that to test our AI. That ought to work, right? So it's apostrophe to open up the AI debugger, and then you press 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to see the different things. So, okay, so I'm visualizing perception right now. Oh yeah, and then you can toggle which guy you're looking at by toggling the system on and off and aiming at them. Alright, so what we're seeing here is his perception cone. Alright, and I want to delete a couple of these guys, make this a little simpler. Thought I'd be all fancy with this, but I guess we don't really need it since I'm just gonna have to use the third person pawn for this. Alright, so we've got our perception now. Let's make sure this is working right. So if I delete that, yeah, so now I've got perception turned on, and you see there is no cone. So that's what gives us that. Alright, so give him his sight back. Right, okay, so now to make him actually sense us, I need to add a stimuli source to the third person pawn. AI perception stimuli source, register as source for sense sight. Nice. And now... he's not seeing us still. In fact, he's not doing anything. There he goes. Oh, I think I need auto register. This might be a little tedious till I get everything running. That green is his nav mesh. When he moves, it's highlighting the path he's taking. Alright, why can't you see us, buddy? Oh yeah, and then we can change this too. So this half vision angle, that's by default it's 90, which gives him a very wide field of view, which we may want. We'll figure that out later. Alright. Oh, this might be it. I need to set the dominant sense. Oh, that's right. And okay, and take all of those. There we go, now he sees us. Alright, so see that green dot? That means we are being registered as to the perception system as a source, okay? And so when he looks away, or when we get out of his field of view, then he loses us. So it stays at the last spot that he saw us at. And we can use that to set up seek to last known point behaviors. Mild one, I noticed you're running around with the mannequin. Did you get that non-VR play working? No, I didn't. I haven't had a chance to look at that yet. I just switched the game mode to be the default third-person game mode so that I can test the AI. It'll work. It works the same way. Like, he can target the mannequin just like he'll target a VR player. But this way I can test without having to be in VR. Which, if I was doing this in VR, it would have taken me the whole stream to get to this point. Alright. See here, let me mute my Unreal audio. So I don't hear that wind sound. Okay. Alright, so we've got our perception. Nice, okay. Alright, reaching back into my memory here. So we have these delegates on the perception component, like on perception updated. That's not the one I want. Target perception updated. That's the one. Okay. So this event fires when he sees a new actor, right? And it passes in the actor and the stimulus structures so we can use them. So here's what I want to do. All right, this is where it starts to come together. Remember our blackboard? And remember how we have him moving to our target point? Well, I want to switch this up a little bit. So let me go to the blackboard and add a key, object key, and this will be target actor, and this is important, key type, there we go, base class needs to be actor, and I'll explain why that is in a minute. Alright, so we've got our new target actor. Now I want to switch this to go to target actor, not target point, and I don't need that anymore. So now he'll just move to the target actor, and then he'll stay put, and then he'll, you know what, let's simplify this. Let's just have him follow the target actor, so we know that it's working. Okay, so if I do this, nothing will happen. And that's because there's nothing in target actor. So see, he's just standing still. And that's because the value of target actor is nothing. Okay? So we need to pass the results of our perception system into the target actor, which we can do here. Mild one. Where do you switch between VR and standard? It's easy. You just go into world settings, and there's a game mode override. By default, it'll be on none, which will default to your game mode that's defined in your project settings, maps, and modes. So, which in our case is, BP player DDoS, right? And so this tells it the player controller class and the default pawn class, or GM DDoS, and then all this stuff is defined here, right? So it tells it the pawn, the controller, the game state, player state, all that stuff. When you override it to third-person game mode, then it changes the default player controller and pawn classes to be third-person. And so that way you can just play the game. So you can have different, pawns and stuff for testing versus like the actual game. Alright, so we've got our AI controller, we're sensing our actor. So what we want to do now is set blackboard, get blackboard, and then set value as object. And our key name, make a literal name, and it is target actor. Gotta make sure you spell it right. Okay, so I think just that should be enough to make our AI start chasing us around. Yep, here he comes. He's fast. And if I get away from him like this, then he'll use navigation and come around. Okay, so that's working. So, sorry, I'm thinking there's a lot of layers to this. Yeah, no personal space. You can change that in the move to. You've got this acceptable radius. You can set it to something bigger, and then he'll stop further away from you. Oh yeah, notice how he's not aiming at me anymore. That's because we're not setting the focus. It would probably be wise to do that here. And so we'll pass in our sensed actor and set our focus. And so see, now he actually tracks. So he'll follow me, he'll stay 200 units away, and he'll update his rotation to face me. Okay, getting somewhere. So Let's see. So that's the most basic of behavior tree as you can get. So now I gotta think what we want him to do when he doesn't sense you. Because as of right now, he'll just stand still. And I can prove that. So like if I take him and move him over here, he doesn't have a target, so he's just sort of standing around. But the minute I walk into that cone of vision, he's going to start chasing me. Here he comes. And so, oh yeah, that's another thing worth noting, is as of right now, there is no way for him to lose me, because once this gets set, nothing is ever unsetting it. Actually, is that true? Hang on. That might not be true. Yeah, he still knows where I am. So see, even though the perception is being lost, he still knows how to find me. And that's because I'm never updating his blackboard, so that blackboard is always containing a key with a reference to my actor, so he always knows my position, so he can always find me. Which may be what we want. Mild one, I wonder if he should patrol a given area or if they should have a vague sense of where you are. Yeah, so like, that's what I'm thinking about. In McSpaceBiff, I have it set up so that there are actually separate behavior trees. So like, they have separate patrol and search and wander trees, and then when the perception system registers a player, it actually switches their behavior tree. So that might be a good way to do this. Do it here too. And the advantage of that is it just makes the trees a lot easier to keep track of. Otherwise you have these like crazy branches and everything. Whereas this way you can just have like this tree does patrols and this tree does combat. Yeah. I think there's also technically a separate tree for like searching. So there's like, so basically when this registers the target is lost, it switches to his like search tree, and when the perception system registers a new target, then it switches to the combat tree. So do I want to do it that way? Probably. There's so many different ways to take this. Could we do something like points of interest that they'd gravitate to? Yeah, that's kind of what I was just thinking. Like if, like for when they're wandering, rather than like in McSpace, if they just literally wander around. But in this, they could they could basically go from they could search through their target points. Yeah, let's do that. Let's rename this. Enemy combat. Duplicate it. I'll name this one Enemy Patrol. And this will be good because this way we don't have to like rework patrolling for every new enemy. Yeah, and I think there's a... Is that a default node? There's a node to set speed. That might be something I have to make. But yeah, basically we can have the behavior tree drive their speed, which is good. So their patrol will be like slower, and we could even have like separate animations. And then when they see you, they snap into action. Alright, so this will be our patrol, so we'll go to find our, change this to target point. Oh yeah, we need our, I called that find attack node. It's kind of a bad name, but whatever. So that'll set the value of target point, and then they'll walk to the target point, and then they'll wait there, and they'll target the player, which this is kind of pointless because they won't have a target player. Alright, now this one, yeah, we can just keep that simple for now. Okay, so we've got our target points. So both these behavior trees should actually work perfectly fine. So now we just need to set up the wiring to make them actually run. So test this real quick. I want to make sure that he can actually lose me. Interesting. I might need to pull up some of my other behavior tree stuff to remind myself how this works. Part of the problem could be... okay, so so the max age is 0. Let's make him have a very, very short goldfish-like memory. It's hard to get away. Well, it is being forgotten because you can see the green sphere is disappearing. See that? So... Need to figure out how to unset this. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, perfect. So that's what I wanted to test. So he does lose me, and I just proved that because I stopped his logic on anything that basically, and when he fails to sense, just stop logic. Let's make sure this works for certain. So once he's unsuccessfully senses a target, which is now, there we go. You see his little AI thing just turned red. So that means he stopped his logic. And then when he senses me again, I could restart the logic, but that would have the same effect as just not doing anything. So I'm not going to do that. So basically what I want to do is I want to switch my behavior trees on these events. So when he loses me, he should go back to patrolling. Now the problem with that is he's probably going to see me again. Well, okay, let's just try that. Oh yeah, and it tells you here the behavior tree that he's running as well. So see, he's running enemy combat, and he's just failing to move because he has no target. But once he spots me, that'll change. See, now he's moving to target actor. But once I get away from him, there we go. Now he's running his other behavior tree. Oh yeah, see, it says it there, enemy patrol. And right now he's waiting. Remember, we have that wait. Now he's going to the other point. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so the perception system is always going to register a line of sight. And it'll remember it too, based on this max age. So like if I turn this up a little bit to 3, turn him around. So here he comes. And see, now when he loses me, it stays there until it gets to 3 and then it disappears. But now he's just standing put because I switched his behavior tree on the first focus loss. So he's just moving between these points. So, what I may want to do is basically when he senses you again, go back to his initial combat behavior tree. So now he's in combat, chasing after me. He just lost me, so now he's going to his patrol. Let me turn this down because this is too long. Wait time, like that 1 second. Alright, so he's after me, loses me, goes to patrol, waits 1 second at each point. And then when he sees me again, here he comes. And so yeah, so basically to actually get away, you've got to get to where he's not gonna see you. You know what else I could probably do? You should probably clear his focus. Loses you. And that'll make him not aim towards your last known point. It'll make him aim towards where he's going, which will make it easier to lose him. There, see, now he's facing to where he's going. Then he gets there, and then he faces to his next point. Back and forth. And so now I've got a chance to sneak up on him. Now he sees me and he's after me again. Let's see. Right, yeah, so, yeah, Harrison, what you're talking about, the reason why he's locked onto you after he lost you is because the focus was not being cleared, so he's aiming after you. So yeah, this should fix that. So now when he loses you, he's not just facing you anymore. Alright. Cool. So what shall we do now? Obviously, There's a lot more to do on the behavior tree side. But this might be enough in terms of like just basic stuff. I think probably the next thing to do is to make him shoot at you. They should probably go investigate where they last saw you, and then if they can't find you, then dip out. Yeah, they do that in McSpaceBiff, actually. It's just hard to tell, because, you know, you don't usually run away from your enemies. Yeah, I think the next thing to do, though, is to make them shoot. Yeah, exactly. But first, I think we need them to be able to shoot. Otherwise, it's just kind of like, you know, it's like, no, it's hard to get a feel for how good the behavior is when they're not able to do anything. So, let's see. Probably are gonna want projectiles. This is kind of an interesting architectural question. I want the shooting to be handled by the gun. That'll make it easy for us to differentiate, you know, projectile speeds and different kinds of attacks, like shotgun spreads and what have you. But we gotta figure out how to aim. So, okay, yeah. So basically, we gotta get the rotation between the enemy and the player in order to spawn a projectile. The muzzle and the player, specifically. To do that, we gotta pass it to the weapon. So, probably here's what we do. We can add a... let's call it target. Make it actor type, because the actor's has a transform, so it needs to be an actor. Can't just be an object. Maybe base. Okay, so. Right, good. We've got a reference to our weapon. That's good. So here's what we gotta do. So the AI controller is what has our target. So let's make that a variable. Call that sense actor. All right, let's do this. Make a little getter function. So see, we got three blueprints we're working with here. We've got our weapon, we've got our controller, AI controller, and our enemy pawn. Wait a minute. Technically, yeah, this is kind of like the link between them, so it kind of makes sense to do it this way, because we need to pass data from our controller to our weapon, and so, you know, the enemy pawn will be kind of like the go-between. So, okay, so we've got our get sensed actor, get controller, that's what I want. So get controller, on get controller, cast to make sure it's AIC enemy. So if enemy base is for some reason not being controlled by that controller, this will fail. And then we'll get our sensed actor, and we'll just return it. Okay, so that'll return our sensed actor, and then I want this to be pure. Alright, nice. And so now what I can do is make an event, call it attack, and I'm gonna get my weapon and run the attack function of my weapon, okay? Not to be confused with this attack. It's the weapons attack. And target, that's a terrible name because everything has a variable called target, so I'm gonna call that sensed actor to attack. So see what I'm doing here? So now we've got this, and then we can get our get sensed actor pure function, pass it in, and so now when we attack, we're gonna go check our AI controller, get our sensed actor, and pipe that into our attack. So now we've got the actor that we are attacking. Nice. Alright, get our weapon mesh, get socket location, and I know the socket is called muzzle. So we're going to get our socket location and our sensed actor to attack. Get world location, get actor location. And then, what is it? Is it get look at rotation? Look, find look at rotation. Okay, and so we want it from the muzzle to our target. Alright, and now we're going to spawn actor from class. Break this. And so it's going to be... So it's going to spawn at our muzzle location, and with this rotation. So this should spawn an actor facing our target, and then we can choose projectile. So that should fire a projectile toward our target. So now something needs to actually set this whole chain of events in motion, because we're not actually calling this. So let's do this. Let's just add a 1 second delay here, and we'll just have him attack every 1 second. Just to see if that's working. Alright. Oh, yeah, look at that. We got bullets coming out of the gun. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that on stream. They're very small. Little blue dot there. That's perfect. And so the reason for that is because my weapon system initializes the projectile speed based on weapon properties, which we have not hooked up, so they're literally just rolling out of the barrel. That is so funny. Okay, catch up on the chat here. Oh yeah, we are not going to recreate Fear. Fear was made by people much smarter than I. It's one of the few games to use a paradigm called GOAP, which is goal-oriented action planning. That is different than behavior trees. So, literally nothing to do with what we've got to work with. Yeah. Alright, so... I'm gonna have to do something about this. Also, why is he not... Oh, he is chasing me. Okay. Yeah, look at that. I'd say that's an enemy right there. Yeah, he's just constantly firing, just dropping projectiles onto the floor. They even leave bullet holes. That's so funny. I love stuff like that. Okay. We got errors. So the reason these are coming is because of what I was talking about earlier. Oh boy. Sorry guys, I'm pretty tired. This is a tough kind of thing to do on stream. Yeah, I'm gonna take my headphones off. I don't know why I wear them. It's not like I can hear you guys. All I can hear is my background music, which I hear in my dreams. Okay, so we should probably have them use cover. Yeah, they'll do stuff. We'll do stuff. For now, we got to get the bullets to not just roll out the barrel like a broken airsoft BB. Okay, so how do I do this? Gun stats. Gun stats. Okay. Oh yeah, that's all I have to do. Yeah. Okay, cool. So weapon base. We can add a gun stats variable of type. What did I call it? PDA weapon stats. Okay, default it to pistol. Pistolet. So we got the pistol, that's the default, and then yeah, we just need to pass it. And then we can make separate data assets for the enemies so that they do different damage than the player. That, oh look at that, he's shooting! He's even got it even has a little hit effect. Nice. That works. Okay. The very least we can do now is make him stop incessantly firing. And he can fire a little more discriminately. Okay, now I'm kind of... This is the kind of stuff that drives me crazy. So I've got set all this up on the pawn, but the event that I want to fire from is on the controller. I guess it's fine because I can just... So we gotta tell him to fire something, right? We can do it easily enough by just getting the controlled pawn and just doing the same thing we did, but off of here. So we're getting controlled pawn, but then we need to cast, and I know that this is not like the best way to do things. because it creates hard references. Also, I don't necessarily want them to just constantly attack you, right? I want to have something, you know, a little more... what's the word? Like, you know, elegant. But whatever. We can figure that out later. For now, let's just do our cast and attack, and then wait and just loop it. This should make him only attack when he sees us. So he's attacking every 1 second. Oh, you know what? I just realized he's hitting himself. Ah, he's gonna kill himself in a minute here. See him flinching? Yeah, yeah. That's too funny. There he goes. Dummy. I wonder if we could have something like cover volumes. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to do cover. Stop hitting yourself. Yep. Alright. Yep, time. Right, so we'll probably need separate projectiles for enemies and the player. And that'll be kind of interesting because it's like the enemy projectiles need to hit the player, but not them. The player projectiles need to hit the enemy, but not the player. But both projectiles need to be able to hit each other because I want you to be able to shoot the projectiles out of the air. That'll be cool. That'll be cool when we get to that point. For now, make that ignore pawns, because I just want to make sure this is working. So there we go. So he's not able to hit me anymore, so we're not seeing the hit effects. But if I can lose him, there we go. He's still shooting? Yeah, he's still shooting. You probably can't see this on the stream because the bullets go so fast, but yeah. A lot of problems. A lot of problems to fix. I think I'm gonna call it here though. There's a lot left to do. This is pretty tough to do while talking out loud, so I may just try to do some of this offline, and then maybe we'll do a stream or I'll do a video or something where I break it down and kind of show you how I put it all together. But yeah, it's not too bad, a little bit of progress. Hopefully someone out there learned something. It's kind of a slog, but we're getting there. Alright, well, everybody have a good rest of your Wednesday. I think Harrison is probably streaming tomorrow night, so be sure to tune in for that. Yeah, we should be back to our regular rotation, so I'll be on Mondays and Wednesdays at noon. Harrison will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evenings at 8. And yeah, we'll just keep going. Alright, well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. See you later.